There's a great phrase that equality feels like oppression to those who have always been privileged, and it's a great leftist phrase that has been used to talk about how rightists are disgusting. And I was like, thing is, that phrase can be applied accurately as well. Which
Uno
is,
reverse card.
it certainly can, and we're going to apply it to those who have had immense privilege, such as those who have been ruling all of Silicon Valley for the last, 10, 15 years now, with an iron boot.
Callum attacks the entire nation of India.
We'll start off just with a mention of the Premium Book Club, Frank DeCotta's The Tragedy of Liberation that I did with Carl, because the thing is, when you have a bunch of ideological socialists in charge, they are incredibly good at oppression. Like, it's actually scary good how good they are. And it's always in the name of liberation and trust and safety, etc., etc. But the thing is, no imperialist of the past could ever do the kind of evil that the Communist Party of China was able to do in the same time period. Like, it's not physically possible. And you'll see this with, the new socialist way of doing things on Twitter that was now gone. We'll start off just with mentioning an article from, I can't remember what the outlet is. Who cares? It's just someone listing all the people who are back on Twitter. And they go with the headline there, they're almost exclusively right-wing figures. Funny that, innit? Really? I had no idea. It's almost as if the whole thing was an ideological stick that had been used against the right. They start off with Donald Trump. He was banned for saying be peaceful at the Capitol. Terrible. Babylon B, they were banned for telling jokes that were anti-progressive. So.
Yeah, well, they did say that the Woman of the Year was not a woman, and that's deeply transphobic.
Yeah, so jokes, not allowed, because they're the wrong kind of jokes. Jordan Peterson, he was also banned for refusing to deny reality. That's that. Kathy Griffin, banned for impersonating Elon Musk, and they write there, she's the only one who's not a right-wing media figure. And
she's also the only one that actually issued a death threat by cutting off Donald Trump's head.
You could see it that way, but it's more about the fact of, like, you have individuals who are consistently banned for things they shouldn't be, and I don't think Kathy Griffin should have been banned for the head thing either, but it's just... Okay, but the rules don't apply equally. They never did. Now she actually just goes, I'm going to break the rules. Look, I've been oppressed. And it's like, no, you're back now. You can't even whine. It's actually quite a funny response. We've got Andrew Tate. They say here Tate was banned on Twitter back in 2017 when he said rape victims bear some responsibility in response to the Me Too movement. The thing is, I've actually seen the clips of him explaining this.
Yeah.
It's a misquote, in case you're wondering.
Yes, I did assume so. I'm not a big fan of Tate, but that seems like nonsense.
No, I've spoken about him as well, but he's mentioning, like, if you have a bunch of money, you shouldn't walk down the street with all the money in your hands and then, like, be upset when you get robbed.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's bad and it shouldn't happen to you. But
this is exactly what we said in the first segment. We think that women should be armed so that if an attempted rapist tries to take advantage of them, they can shoot him.
There's that, but his point was more that you shouldn't, like, go somewhere where...
dress conservatively.
Go to a party with a bunch of pigs who are all drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Like, that's not a good idea, and it shouldn't happen to you, still, and the guy should all be killed or castrated, but it's still... That was his point.
Be aware, because you can't stop evil in the world. You can only protect yourself against it. That's Louise Perry's position, and it's a very sensible one.
Any kind of nuance that's rightist can't be allowed. Any leftist nuance is allowed. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was already still on Twitter because of her official account. Was a congressman, wasn't banned, but her personal account was banned.
Right.
That's just dumb. That's just dumb on every level. It's like, you're banned, but not really.
That was also because of Rachel Levine.
All right. We have Project Veritas. They were banned for anti-establishment journalism. James Lindsay, banned for opposing gender theory. Sargon of Akkad, who was banned for opposing the alt-right, which... okay. I still can't get over that one. In case you're wondering, that's actually why
they lie about why he was banned in there, actually.
Yeah, they don't know, because they're idiots.
Yeah, and also he said he actually wouldn't rape Jess Phillips.
No, none of those tweets were a problem. It was the fact that he said the alt-right were essentially inferior, and that's what got him banned.
James Lindsay baselessly called individuals in the LGBT community groomers. Oh, really?
Yes, of course. We also have Megan Murphy, who was banned for journalism. So there you have it.
Yep.
And then everyone at Twitter has been fired for some time. I think some of them are back now, but you remember that happened. Yep. The only thing that changed was that the site started deleting nonce content, which... Keep that in mind.
Yep.
And the reason why
was lost
is just alluded to by Elon as he walks around Saddam Hussein's palace showing off the Ba'athist Party's old T-shirts.
That's a pretty good comparison. I'm sure they're just childish Gambino fans.
I really love... I mean, this is the reason a lot of people, I think, were captivated by the fall of Kabul or, like, the fall of Saddam Hussein's Iraq and whatnot, is because when you see... you have... It's not just, like, a shift in the leader. The whole ideological structure is destroyed and replaced overnight, and those kind of transitions are very rare. Like, they're more rare than you think, looking at transitions in countries. And this is also one type of that. It's just on a smaller scale. Like, maybe not given the money involved. But you see here, just he turns up, finds all his Stay Woke T-shirts lying around. It's just like,
He should go to that New York Times conference soon and have a cannon and just fire the T-shirts out against the crowd.
That would be a good thing to do. Anyway, but this is the thing I really wanted to focus on because there's, the things that have happened. But I wanted to focus on the depression of the left. And lads, time to enjoy yourselves. We'll start off with Vox.
You decided to treat me, have you, Callum?
Yeah. The weird sorrow of losing Twitter, grieving a loss, when the loss is the Hellbird site you weren't even supposed to love.
Well, thank you for the admission that you were tacitly owning it behind closed doors.
This is the thing. I'm just going to go through. There are a bunch of articles of just people crying. But they can't say why they're crying because they know it would be a mask off.
Yeah.
So they have to try and pretend. The reason they're really crying is because of, I don't know, hate or the site's dying. Have you noticed the site dying?
A couple of tweets don't show up, so there's some infrastructural problems, but I can put up with that for a little while.
Yeah. Seems like the user base is bigger than ever.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dying site to me. Anyway, at the time of publish, they write, Twitter has yet to splutter to a stop, and it's not a given that it will shut down. Probably won't. That's why. You guys weren't actually the thing that made Twitter fun. You were the poison that was killing it.
Yeah.
Like just ideologically, you were just getting rid of everyone who was interesting. Bring back Milo. Still, the changes made by the new owner, Elon Musk, both structural, like firing thousands of employees, and cultural, like breaking the verification system, reinstating banned users, and reinstating former President Donald Trump.
Yes.
It's if he's not a banned user, he's someone else.
Yeah.
Which he is. He's a political prisoner.
Yeah, they literally admit that the president should be beyond expulsion because as a matter of historical record, his tweets should be accessible.
They say those have contributed to the feeling that something has fundamentally changed. Yes, it's fixed. Saddam Hussein and his sons are gone. There is a new dictator in charge. It's a billionaire libertarian king, so it's not as bad as Saddam. So, I'll deal with it. Observing that Twitter, quote, wasn't just a hell site, it was a hell home, they write. Which is a weird thing to describe your rule.
Yeah.
Like, when our ideology was in charge of this thing, it was still hell. But it was a home.
But it was our hell. Isn't a personalised hell meant to be way worse?
Okay. And yet, if any internet space deserves our sincere respect, it's Twitter, does it bollocks, which has functioned more like a real public square than any other social media platform. Yes, for 2 months.
Yeah, but also, like, if there's any website that deserves our respect, it's Twitter. 13% of Twitter is porn. Like, just
I don't really have a problem with
no,
porn.
but like things like that, right? It's not exactly beyond reproach, is it? Like, it's not this
Sure.
highfalutin, dignified square of where you're having really intellectual conversations. It's compressed meanness sniping, and then women posting their own.
Well, it's not just about high political conversations.
Yeah.
That's not what a public square is.
No.
Like, it's loads of everything, and that's the thing. Actually, if any platform does deserve our respect, irritating it's 4chan, actually, when you think about it. It's like, well, yeah, that thing's a hellhole, but at the same time, like, yeah, really the US laws are the only things that apply there. If you wanted an absolute public square, you've got it there. And Twitter is probably one of the furthest away. Misgendering is still a crime on Twitter.
Has Elon not fixed that yet?
No, that's still policy. I don't know if it's being enforced because all the people who are enforcing it are fired, but,
Yep.
It's there. Anyway. But also the idea that they go on to say that it's like a real public square. I mean, up until now, it's been more like Chop Chop Square. In Saudi, do you know about Chop Chop Square?
No, I don't.
So in Riyadh, there's a square. It's called Chop Chop Square. Want to have a crack? Want to guess?
Is that where they do all the executions?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's where they execute people
Well, the Saudis aren't wrong about everything.
for being anti-regime. And what's happened to anyone who was anti-regime on Twitter? Well, they went to Chop Chop Square, didn't they? Not anymore. This is the platform that gave birth to the hashtags, and with all its infinite and often unsurprising users, it has aided the rise of countless social movements, from the Arab Spring resistance to hashtag Black Lives Matter to hashtag Me Too. Not all of them have been good. See Gamergate. Get over it! I'm so sick. I've gone through multiple articles reading about it. Every single one of them mentions Gamergate, and I no one involved in Gamergate on the right side of that even gives a crap about it anymore.
Did the people on the right side of it even use the hashtag Gamergate, or was it just all
time.
the feminists crying about hashtag Gamergate?
It was a way to unionize, but
Right.
it's just like, Jesus Christ, you really are never going to get over that, are you? Anyway, that's also why it's difficult to know what to replace it with, and if it's even possible. The thing is, what's changed? No, none of you were getting banned for being left-wing. That's not what's happening. I mean, even, what's her name earlier? Kathy Stupid over there.
Griffin.
She got banned for impersonating Elon after he said, don't do that or I'll ban you.
And then she went on her dead mum's account.
And then got her account back anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so this is not the reign of terror that we suffered under on the right for the last 10 years. Is not the case. In fact, most right-wingers, a lot of them are still banned.
Yeah, the block button works.
Yeah. Also, there's people like Romlin Tomlinson who has just forgotten his login. So
No
he can't
relation, by the way.
he can't actually issue an appeal.
Right.
So he's just like, for God's sake, there's that. So Twitter's public square holds less and less appeal in an era where harassment has grown. People don't know what harassment is. But moderation hasn't always grown alongside it. Really? I mean, the Stasi got pretty big. And so users have also increasingly retreated to semi-private spaces like Discord and Telegram and private group chats and WeChat. Those siloed spaces make it harder to find friends across platforms and interests. This is a fear, we all discovered this.
Yeah.
Like, we all made plan Bs. Like, even the people who weren't banned, because we knew it was coming at some point. And, well, there are a myriad of different right-wing spaces you can go for such a thing. It's actually one of the beauties of the right-wing movement, especially if you map it. I can't remember the website. They mapped, like, the big bubbles of YouTube channels. And you notice the right one was loads of tiny bubbles. Some big ones. But the left was just big bubbles. Hugely decentralized network.
Yeah.
And it only comes about when the threat of being deleted entirely is commonplace. If it wasn't commonplace, the right would look exactly like the left in that respect, just some huge big bubbles. And it's not.
No.
Because of the, well, environment that organism has had to grow up in. Anyway, they go on to whine that without Twitter's transparency and searchability, it'll be harder to stumble across people who share a cross-section of your passions, or a deep dive into your highly specific interests. The thing about Musk's gutting of Twitter is that if it really collapses, whole communities will be uprooted and displaced.
Oh no.
Like who? Subcultures like fandoms, kink communities, sex workers, educators, and queer and trans spaces heavily rely on freedom of pseudo-anonymity on Twitter.
So I've been very skeptical about Musk. You're winning me over.
The thing is, that's not untrue. It's like, yeah, those environments do, like, sex environments will rely on pseudo-anonymity. That's a big part.
Because it's shameful.
Well, it's part of their circle. Like, you might not even want to display your face for other reasons, such as living in Iran. But the thing is, like, you also have the fact that they didn't mention any critics of the regime.
No.
Pseudo-anonymity, like, the first thing I think of the reason you need that is for critics of the regime as a right winger.
Whistleblowers, yeah. Well, not even as a right winger, just in other repressive regimes, for example.
I just happen to be one, and it's just like, that's the first thing. Not the kink communities.
No.
I generally think of the people who are going to suffer because of your censorship, and you didn't even mention them.
Well, they can just make friends with the police, because obviously every time you wear a leather dog costume, you get a selfie with them at a pride parade, so they're not going to be short of allies.
They finish it off with, so, yes, there is a reason to mourn. The reality is that it is a hard time, even if Twitter doesn't collapse. Well, it's not, so that's the thing. And that's not the only coat piece.
Yeah.
He's like, it's going to collapse, rise. Any second now. Any second. Trump's going to be impeached as well, any second. Every goddamn time. We go to the next one here. We have The Independent. Rest in peace, Twitter. 2006 to 2022, dead at the hands of Elon Musk. It's still there and growing. It didn't used to grow. I think we're like 5 years now it's not grown. Like, if you were in a foreign country where Twitter wasn't even slightly a thing, like, people wouldn't join it because there was no point. It's like, this isn't going to explode in my country. I'm on VK or whatever else. Anyway, they write in here, at its worst, Twitter was the enemy of the people. It was not an accident that former President Donald J. Trump took over Twitter. Yes, being enemy of the people is when you're popular.
It's also, he took over Twitter because he used it in a new and novel way, and he was the president of the most prominent country in the world, so of course everyone wanted to follow him. And anytime you put a tweet out, it's like throwing chum to sharks of the journalist class.
Sure,
you
but
morons made your career off of it.
He was popular on Twitter. That's why he was the enemy of the people. Okay. But now, as Elon Musk takes the helm, for real this time, and starts off with a series of firings, you've got to stop saying it. It's too good to be true. Anyway, it's time to say our goodbyes to the social media platform that once was. Why? Nothing bad has happened to you. You've just lost your power, and you know it. It's not as if our better angels ever really overcame the truly despicable parts of the Twitterverse. We just didn't purge enough people, guys. One day we'll have killed everyone right in the village. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out that premium podcast I was talking about. There was a quote. This is in the Chinese archives, so you can't even deny it. In which I think it was Deng Xiaoping mentioned that he was part of a killing team at the time of Mao's era. And all the villagers came to him one day and said, we've got to kill these guys. They're all landlords, reactionaries. And once we killed them, we'll be fine. And he went, aye, sure. Killed them all. And then they came back the next day and said, well, all their family members, we're scared they're going to take revenge and kill us. So we got to kill them too. So they killed all of them. And then the family members of the family members had to die, and they killed them. And it was about 4 lists down until the people who remained in the village fled for fear of being killed by revenge. And then there were no village. There is no end to purging.
No.
Really isn't. Elon Musk, of course, is a right-wing radical himself.
No.
No.
No, he's not exactly the most present of fathers, so he's hardly a hardline Catholic conservative.
Sure, I don't think he meets your definition for sure, but
No.
I don't even think he's a right winger. Like, I
No.
just see him as
He's just
actually moderate.
He's just a shit-posting libertarian.
Back to Tim Pool. It's like he's not a member of the cult, therefore he's a right winger. Okay. Quote, "I did it to help humanity," said Musk in a tweet on Thursday of his Twitter acquisition. "It is important to the future of civilization to have a virtual town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence."
Notice the fact that Jack Dorsey said almost the exact same thing but never did it, and just because Musk is actually doing it, now they're crapping their pants.
Yes, now he's a reactionary now. "I guess Musk didn't seem to understand the correlation between language and violence," wrote The Independent. As if anyone takes this seriously. "The necessary link between what people say and what they do." Yes, indeed. I say things and people die.
Yeah, now post that black square or I'll hit you.
"I guess he doesn't understand that if some kinds of language and beliefs are reined in, violence will not stem from them." It's like, okay, you're actually a lunatic who doesn't understand anything about free speech debates, do you? You've never taken part in one. If your conclusion about this is, don't you know people say things and people die because of those things? Therefore ban all the sayings. Just ban all the speech and then we will never have actions.
Yeah, eternal whack-a-mole.
There's another one here. If we go to the next one, we have the Washington Post going, "Millions await the platform's collapse." Keep waiting, folks.
Yep.
Raheem Bleh says, who is a site reliability engineer, who left Twitter in 2019, says, "The fact that Twitter continues to work is a testament to the thousands of engineer years spent building that reliability." Does it? Really? Would loads of people signing up to Twitter really destroy Twitter? I think that's sort of what it was built for.
Yeah,
People signing up.
He just culled the HR departments, basically.
I love it though. It's like you're firing a bunch of engineers and now the site's going to bust. And it's like, it hasn't. Because all that's happened is people have signed up. I thought that was what it was built to do.
Yeah.
Take sign-ups. No, okay, right. Okay, this is actually some really complex job. Like, I did bare bones coding in my physics degree, but even I know that if you set up the system and it works, it will keep working. I don't really understand how people signing up would break Twitter. It's primary Directive 1 here. Anyway, half of the trust and safety policy team resigned. Oh no. Including a majority of those who work on spotting misinformation, spam, fake accounts, and impersonation, according to 2 employees familiar with the team.
Right, so all of those people that were working with the Biden administration, as exposed in The Intercept, that were taking down Anthony Fauci parody accounts.
So it's going to collapse any second now because of that. I don't know about you, I've not noticed any difference in spam.
No.
Same.
If anything, I think I've been unshadow banned, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you know, well, people can't ban you from misinformation anymore. Whole thing's pointless. People are going to leave. I was like, nope. Keeps ticking up. Go to the next one here. We have someone else going out with telling us what the trust and safety team actually look like. I don't know if you could hit, just so we can see it. It's not listen because it's painful. But this person here was a contract worker.
It's really funny you said this person here and it cuts to the Labrador.
This person says that they're really worried about Twitter's future because my hate is going up on Twitter. Yeah, no evidence. No. This is the thing. This is the person banning you.
Yeah.
Because hate. They didn't end up defining anything in this interview, so that's why I'm not playing, because it's just a waste of time.
It rubs the lotion on its Twitter, or it gets the ban again.
Yeah, the mods really are what you think they are. At least the people who work for Facebook were on contract from Cognizant, were actually, like normal people. But the internals at Twitter are different people. We go to the check marks. There's also the fact that the check mark now means nothing, which means the whole thing will collapse, says The Guardian.
Oh no.
This is what I mean by they will enjoy the depression. Look at them all. Look at them all. They're like, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. Why? It's not leftist anymore. So that won't make it collapse. You people are actually idiots. And I'm here for it. Several anti-vaccine accounts with tens of thousands of followers are now paying $8 a month for Twitter Blue. Who cares? Means nothing. Verified accounts are frequently seen as reliable and trustworthy, right? The Guardian.
Right.
When in your goddamn life has a verified checkmark meant trustworthy to you?
Yeah, we just looked at it like an idiot badge.
Yeah. All the memes about the hand and all the rest of it, it's not for no reason. Anyway, here's the real reason people are leaving, of course, at least on the left, because there's the only people who are trying to leave. Go to Count Dankula. Here's a artist rendition. There you are. You actually have to defend your ideas now, because you can't just ban the people who disagree with you anymore.
Have you seen them all fleeing to Mastodon and then not realising that nobody can get banned on Mastodon because it's a federated system, and they're complaining to the moderators and he's going, I'm just some dude in my basement, I haven't got the ability to shut down other people's servers, why are you complaining at me?
And there are loads of Nazis on there as well.
Yeah. So the left will feel right at home.
All right. We'll go to the last one here, which is just Elon mentioning, wasn't Twitter meant to die or something? All right. Yeah, it's all stupid.
Maybe we've gone to heaven or hell and don't know it.
Yeah. But the point being that the billionaire libertarian king is now in charge of instead of the Council of Leftist Commissars, there was the Trust and Safety Board. And this is a point I'm going to pull back to that premium podcast for, because just think about that. So the place currently runs on a man's tolerance of who lives and dies. And every leftist theorist ever will tell you about how such a monarchy is just immediately going to become insanely tyrannical. Everyone's going to suffer as a result of it, and it's completely unconscionable. Whereas what we will do will be perfectly fine. And sure, Alex Jones is still banned because of Musk's personal tastes.
Yes.
And that is the libertarian king in action there, and you could say that's a bad thing. And you'd be accurate in describing that in my plea. But the thing is, it's still amazingly less tyrannical than the Council of Trust and Safety. Like that's always the point. Like, and we've gone through this in our Western studies books, because you just have endless historian going, yeah, and then the Soviets killed another 1 million people, then another 1 million here and 1 million there, and then you compare it to like 100 years of Russian imperial rule, and like, the biggest atrocity will be like the king sent in the Cossacks and they killed 1,000 people. 1,000 men, women, and children were killed by the Cossacks because the Tsar told them to. There's nothing. Literally, in the grand scheme of socialist control, I mean nothing whatsoever. Like the tyranny, even from the tyrannical king of the Tsars, with your 40 years conscription, was a nothing burger. And the libertarian king in charge, again, can do basically no damage as compared to the old regime.
A lot of deaths on the hands of human rights, apparently.
Yeah, and it's just a digital rendition of that somewhat historic rule of power, which is the tyrannical libertarian king, or tyrannical, just evil king, can't actually do anywhere near as bad as socialists who think they're saving the world. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium hangouts we do, this one on Biden's AI Bill of Rights. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.